Hi, welcome to Chamber Connection. I'm Mary Hodson, president of the Chamber of Commerce here in Hutchinson, Minnesota. Yes, I said Minnesota. We don't want to confuse ourselves with Kansas because we get a lot of phone calls. Miranda knows that already. So I'm so glad that you joined us today. Miranda from the office is joining me so we can talk about some of the things that are going on in the chamber world. There's a lot. It's been a busy summer. And on top of that, I got a new office, AKA the cave, so I can dig in, and let me tell you, there's a lot to dig into. So please welcome our chamber membership support coordinator, Miranda Piepenberg. Ah.
Hello.
We need like an audience applause overlap.
Yes.
I mean, if we're gonna be big someday, we need to start incorporating some of these things.
Background music.
Yeah.
Like Oprah.
Maybe Liz can put that in for us because we want to be like other people. You know, there's a show that's going syndicate in the Twin Cities going down to like Florida. So I feel like we're right there. Right there.
Next in line.
Yep.
Next in line.
So I asked you to join me today because number one, you can play this game really well with me. And number two, we have so much happening at the chamber and so many things in the community that we want people to know about. So thanks for taking time out of your schedule because I know, because I watch you, how busy you are with all the things from the arts and crafts.
Yeah.
Literally, we're cutting with scissors and all the other things. So just thanks for being here.
Yeah. My pleasure.
Okay, so what do we want to start with first?
Well,
You've wrapped up your first full year.
yeah. Yep. I started the week before the golf tournament last year, and then we just did the golf tournament 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah.
full year.
So let's just first ask you, when you think about the last year, what are the things that stick out to you or stand out to you?
How much the people in this community are willing to just volunteer and step up and be there for their fellow community members and business owners. And it's just been really fun to see those interactions.
Yeah. And you're already one of those people who volunteers. It wasn't like you went to the chamber and then went, oh, I should volunteer. You've been very active in the community, doing things, helping. You're always one of those people who is willing to help and do things. So I think that hearing you say that just to see even more of that, I think is really impressive and really speaks to kind of the culture of our community.
Yeah. You see that it takes people to run things, but when you're really behind the scenes of things like the Arts and Crafts Festival and Dairy Day, big things like that, and you see really the behind the scenes and how much work actually goes into it, then you realize like how much work it is to put on an event, and without volunteers, it wouldn't happen.
Can you imagine? Because I'm sure there are people out there who think that vendors just show up, put up their stuff on a tent, and then go with it, right? Mm-hmm. And we were talking in the office the other day that we really start the week after on the next year for arts and crafts. Mm-hmm. Because there's so many details and so many things. Like we have files for our artists and all the things that happen there.
It's really not even the week after. I mean, last day of, we're writing notes for the next year, like what we can improve or things that we need to remember for the next year. So
people give us some really good ideas, some not so great ideas, but that's with everything, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, that goes with the territory. But yeah, we had some great ideas and some great feedback last year, some things that we saw as opportunity. And so we just keep that running list. And we were even talking about it this morning as we were working on signage and some of those details as we kind of come down to this last week. Or this last month. Gosh, can you imagine? A week.
Yeah, no thanks.
But I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because it's I don't know. I can't pinpoint it. Maybe it's because you've been here for a year and you've been through it, or if it's that we have a different view of the park now in our new office.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what it is, but I'm really looking forward to it. If you're not familiar, sometimes it can be really stressful and it gets stressful, but I'm just not feeling it this year. So if that's partly that you're just here and I know that I have help, thank you. So let's talk about arts and crafts. Let's talk about, for somebody who's not been part of arts and crafts before or attended, what does it look like?
So if you've been through Hutchinson, which most people have, Highway 15 is the main vein, Library Square is packed. We just had somebody come in the office today who was like, oh, how many vendors do you get? And I'm like, it's literally full to the brim. And there's times when we're squeezing people in because we don't want to turn people away. And we just don't. So last year, I think we had the most open market vendors.
Yeah, we had like 26, 28, something like that.
Yeah, so Hassan Street was completely full. Library Square was full. And it was just a great turnout. The weather was great. It wasn't too hot.
It was like the existential perfect fall weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we ordered this year.
So, yeah. So, I mean, it's full of every type of craft that people can imagine, jewelry, clothing, Christmas ornaments, tea towels with sayings on them.
Oh my gosh. Jenny and I were looking some the other day. So we get a sneak peek, of course, because people have to send us photos of their work. I was laughing out loud. So excited.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is fun because we always get a few new people too. And there's quite a few new vendors.
The last report I saw that Jenny did, and this was like a month ago, there was 20 new vendors.
Yeah, that's
so
exciting.
We'll have even more. One of the things that changes, and people go, why don't people come back? Well, this might not be their market. Or we have a lot of people who've been retiring.
Yeah. Yes, we've had so many of the older generation. I can say that now because I'm 40. But we've had people that are my seniors who've been retiring and who are just, oh, this is my last year. And they have nobody to hand down their craft to.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch and listen to them because some of them are like, I don't know, this might be it. And then they come back full force. You know, it's an ebb and a flow. It's a seasonal thing for many of them. But also, it's interesting to listen to those that travel and do this full time, right? So what people might not know is that we literally have people calling the Monday, Tuesday before the show, wanting to know if they can get in.
Right. Because they've talked to other vendors at other craft events before ours, and they're like, oh, we've heard it's so good. Can we come back? Yeah.
So the infamous or famous Little Falls show is the weekend before ours. And that's where vendors chat and learn about what we're doing. And that's usually where we're getting phone calls from.
Yeah, especially that last week.
Yeah, for sure. Taste of Hutchinson.
Yes, we're so excited. There's a couple new vendors this year. So we're excited. I mean, who doesn't love a lunch that you can choose out of 14 different trucks?
Yeah,
so.
exactly. And so we have some new vendors. We have returning vendors. There's always people who try it. Maybe it's not their market, or we've had some who have retired out. So it's very similar to arts and crafts. There's going to be music on both Friday afternoon and Saturday afternoon. So those are opportunities to come down. So yeah, I think it's going to be a great time. It's also an opportunity for businesses. So we have a number of businesses that also have correlating events.
Yep.
So I know that we have the Stamp and Storage Warehouse sale, both Friday and Saturday. Usually there's a larger farmers market on Saturday.
Our downtown stores usually open up their doors.
They enjoy the weekend.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's different foot traffic than their typical, so they do well, and we're excited about that. Also, we have the Lamb Shop. They have their fall festival weekend as well. So we love that people utilize the opportunity when there's additional traffic in the community.
Right, to piggyback off each other. Yep.
Absolutely. I mean, that's part of the collaboration that we love. And of course, the book sale.
Yes. Library book sale. Yeah.
Yep. Gonna bring my 2 reusable bags.
Stock up.
Maybe 3. Yeah. I wasn't able to go over last year. We were busy. And so I didn't get any last year, and I can feel it. So I'm ready for that too.
Yeah. I mean, there's something for everybody. Even if you're not into arts and crafts, like, who's not into food?
Well, here's the great thing.
Or music.
Right? It's the perfect time to come down and start Christmas shopping, holiday shopping. If you've got those birthdays or anniversaries, get some ideas or do your shopping. I think it was 2 years ago, I did all of my shopping the same weekend, done
Yeah.
like that. And it was really easy. So you don't even have to shop for yourself. I mean, you should.
Right.
I always find something I want. I always think, oh, I should look for,
Someone
right?
else.
Because you know how good I am at shopping. It's not my talent. That one has talent in shopping. She's really good at it. Okay, so arts and crafts. Right after arts and crafts, we segue right away. We flip into farm fatigue.
Yep. Buckets of thanks.
Yep. So right now we're collecting,
Yep.
so businesses can participate.
Donation, sponsorship. Those sheets are available through us at the chamber.
Yep. And you can donate either dollars or goodie items that go into 300 buckets or 300 bags.
Yep.
And
So
then-
snacks, flashlights, water bottles, like lots of different things. There's been so many cool things in the bags.
And we always tell people kind of that respite, wellness, safety, health,
Mental health
wellness.
too.
Yes, that's been a big push as we're learning about rural mental health, agricultural mental health. There's always been a stigma, right? We are trying to erase that. So, and then the coolest thing about these buckets is that then our committee, we don't even go out, right? Our committee is so dedicated to taking these buckets out to the farmers right at the farm sites, like out in the fields. So they take their trucks out into the fields and give these buckets and bags to those people who are actually harvesting our food.
Yep. Yep.
Super cool, a really well received program. I was just telling somebody yesterday, we get more written thank yous, emails, posts, messages from social media on this program than we do anything else. So,
Even if it's just to let them know, hey, we're thinking of you.
yeah. And during harvest, they work really hard and long, long hours. So this is an opportunity to get them out of the cab, get them to stretch a little bit, right?
Yep.
Give them some food, give them some water, give them a pat on the back. It's a real feel good. And I think that's why it's so important to make sure that we're taking care of them.
Right.
Yeah.
So, donations, however that comes, whether it's monetary or we do have a running list of things that can be put in the bags. So anybody can call the office too if you have questions. So,
Yeah.
yep.
Do you think that we're magical enough to go 587-5252? I mean, it's not like when I do Facebook and it's not produced.
Scrolling across the screen. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Liz will just throw that in for people
Yeah.
to be able to call us, right?
So,
In the meantime, we've got those things happening, but we have other programs and services that we've been providing now. You've been working on a business resource page.
yep. So, currently it's got legislative
Easy for her to say.
links on it, and some of the things that are going to be affecting businesses coming up. But it's going to segue, and we're going to continue adding more information, just important things that business owners and employees should know coming up. And we'll be adding SCORE to
Yeah.
that, SCORE information.
We are. So SCORE is a great program that's around the entire United States. And I think last year the statistics were like over 1 million hours were volunteered to help and support new or existing entrepreneurs. And so it's a mentor-mentee program. So we help find mentors who have some experience. And it used to be that it was people who were retired. But they found that there were so many people still in work mode or still in the workforce that wanted to be part of this. And so, say for example, Miranda, you want to start a business and you're like, I know how to do photography or I know how to do this, but I don't know this other part. You can sign up as a mentee to get a mentor either in the same type of industry or with someone with a skill set that you are looking to learn more about. And that is matched for free. The time is donated by mentors, and one of the things that's really impressive to me is the level of training. It's not extensive, takes 5 days to do the training as a mentor, but I found it very concise, easy to understand, some common sense, but like great, actionable, here's your to-do list as a mentor, and not like, hey, throw them to the wolves kind of thing. And I was really impressed by that. There are a lot of opportunities as a mentor and as a mentee to get additional training or to do webinars or meetings where you can go and hear from other people about specific topics. One of the things that we've seen and I've been seeing as we started this is a lot of succession planning. Like, how do you retire and plan to retire, right? You can't just say, as a business owner, I think I'm going to retire next month, right? You can do that in the corporate world.
Right.
In
When
some
you work
cases.
for someone else.
Right,
Yep.
but you can't do that when it's yours. You know, like you said, when we were talking about arts and crafts vendors, they don't have someone to take over the business or the craft. And for many of our business owners, that's the same thing. This is a great opportunity for people to get in and start hearing from professionals, people who've been through an experience, what are best practices to start your succession planning and how will you retire out gracefully and financially, right? Because a lot of people, their sale or as they pass that business on is part of their retirement plan. So I've been really impressed by that. So anybody who's interested in being a mentor or becoming a mentee and being mentored should reach out to us as well. So we can get them more information, and that's going to be on that page that you've been working on. You were mentioning the legislation, right? So if you're part of a business right now, you've been hearing a lot of things, there's a lot of buzzwords, but it's also really confusing because there's so many different dates that things are taking place, right? So that's a great way to get some on demand, watch a webinar when you have time, not sign up and watch it at 3 o'clock only, to learn about what does it mean for cannabis, marijuana, rules, laws, regulations. Each part of that has its own set of deadlines and timelines, as well as the things that we've been seeing when it comes to taxation, when it comes to different what's the word I want? Benefits for your employees, things like that. So I think that will be a great opportunity for businesses as well.
Yep. And we also have, talking about web pages and links and things like that, we just got the childcare website up and going as well in the last month. So
Yeah,
that's
so-
really expanding quickly.
If people go to explorehutchinson.com, they're just going to find a lot of information. And we have a great search bar. And I just go to the search bar and put in childcare or business, and those things pop up really easily. And so childcare, we have the Child Care Coalition. Earlier in the year, we had Liz Danielson come and join me. And we talked about what the Rural Child Care Innovation Program was with First Children's Finance. It was so many acronyms and it's so hard, but one of the goals of child care was to have an ongoing committee to keep this work going after our commitment with First Children's Finance. And we flipped the switch very quickly and went to the Hutchinson Child Care Coalition as a committee of the chamber. And if you are interested in supporting child care providers in any way, shape, or form, whether that is through donations of in-kind items, if it's dollars, whatever that looks like, we're happy to help facilitate that and get the right things into the right hands of the right people. But now we have the grant as well. And so grant for new businesses or existing that are going to add to their child care slot numbers, which means staffing as well. And then we're working on finalizing, it's a smaller grant pool, but it's something that we can utilize to help with the gap, That's
Yeah.
what I'm going to say. There is an open house for the community. So that is on August 31st. It's a Thursday. It's at our place.
It is.
It's at the Chamber, 44 Main Street.
Yes.
There's more at 44. It's from 4:30 to 6, and we're going to have some refreshments and share what we've learned in the last year, because it's been a year now that we're doing this. And after having a town hall meeting, those surveys, you probably remember back in the fall when we were just like, with all the surveys that we're going through the program. What have we learned? What have we done? And where are we going? So
I just don't think people understand how critical the need is for daycare spots, especially for young children.
yeah,
People are really starting to base their family planning off of the availability of daycare, which is hard to comprehend.
so you remember me telling how when I heard that for the first time last year, it really hurt me, because I did not have to do that. It was not in a situation that I had to do that. So let me just give you some numbers. And these are some base numbers, and I'm going to do some rounding up and rounding down. But we have a little over 400 kids in childcare in Hutchinson. There are another 450 kids that could go into daycare or into childcare situations that would allow their parents to go into the workforce. And that's the bottom line why we are involved in this, because that industry is so crucial to the future of our workforce, not only for their parents to be part of the workforce successfully, as well as for those kiddos in the future. So we have had some incredible stories come from businesses telling us about how maybe they're shift working and mom and dad work different shifts, so they can split the shift of taking care of the kids because they don't have daycare. So what does that look like for a healthy relationship, a healthy family? That's really hard when you're splitting the shift at home and at work.
Right.
And sometimes those shifts overlap, right? And in larger corporations, that's harder to manage in a fair way, right?
Right.
So that's a challenge in itself. And so those people who have attendance policies and somebody has to come in an hour late because they're waiting for somebody to come home, you're not going to leave the kids in the car, running in the middle of Minnesota winter, waiting for mom and dad to swap out. That's just not realistic. And so the bottom line for childcare is that the economics of it don't work. We're not in a place to be able to fix the economics of it. I mean, we could have conversations about regulations and blah, blah, blah. We're just not going to do that. But what can we do locally here? And if we can relieve some of the barriers or reduce barriers or help someone past a barrier that they have so they can take care of kiddos, that's what we're going to try to do.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yep.
Yeah, and the work that I do with that, I'm just going to tell people, would not happen without a huge committee of people doing it and also great staff in the office. So I can work on those things, right? You are working with members and membership a lot. And so taking care of things that I would have in the past have been doing, and it allows me to work on those programs that are so critical to the future of our business community.
Right. And that's what it comes down to is there's no open spots for daycare, but there's so many businesses that are hiring right now. They just can't find those people who have the daycare, who can leave their children.
And if you're recruiting to Hutchinson, and you've got a young family that's coming in, we call them trailing spouses. You've got a spouse who also wants a job, but there's no daycare, so now they can't work. So now they have to decide if the cost of living and the cost of being here in the community is worth for them to stay home. How are they going to balance that? Because economics for a family are real.
Yeah.
And that's where the rub is, right?
The logistics just don't always.
It doesn't
pan
always
out.
line out. And like you said, if you have to choose to plan your family around a slot or not, And here's something that people don't realize. We have this many slots. They're not all filled and can't be because each provider has like this bucket, and they can have so many babies, infants, they can have so many toddlers, they can have so many preschool, so many school age children. And you can have 10 kids and have more babies, or you can have 12 kids and fewer babies, right? Economics. More money, you get more money for an infant, but it's also more work. But you have families that are aging up into those slots, right? And so you might have a slot open for an infant, but you've got a parent coming in 7 months for that slot, right? So you've got that slot open and you're not using it somewhere else, right? You can't shift back and forth.
Right.
So
It's hard.
there's no easy answer. And to watch these providers at work and listen to them talk, yeah, it's challenging. It has its challenges. There are a lot of them that don't feel appreciated by parents. A lot of them feel overworked, underappreciated. They don't take a lot of time off, right? But on the opposite side of that is they love their kids.
Yes, like
It's
their
an
own.
extension of their own family. And that's something that's amazing to me.
Yep.
Not, you don't want me to watch your kids. You don't. That's not my wheelhouse. So to listen to them, well, anybody who's going to be passionate about what they talk about, I'll listen to someone talk about how they make Q-tips all day as long as they're passionate about it, right?
Right.
So, all right, let's wrap up here a little bit. What are you looking forward to now this next year of chamber life?
Oh man.
Because you've now seen everything, right?
Yeah. I guess going into all of our events and all of our things with prior knowledge,
Yeah.
not just going in blind. So having that
Yeah.
experience from the past year to be able to help a little bit more and take some things off plates and just be.
She might be talking about me. And that's the thing I really appreciate. You're really good at that and making sure that we're balanced. And I appreciate that because that's really important.
So, yeah, just more being able to not just watch and see, but being more involved in each of our events and things that we participate in.
Yeah.
So,
And now like you said, you've got that knowledge, you've got that experience. I hope that you have a great month and we will see you back here next